The American Express Platinum Card is one of the most misunderstood credit cards on the market today. Some people don't really know what it's for, but they think it's a premium card, so they get it as soon as they're approved for it, and then they use it everywhere they possibly can because they think, oh, this is a good card. But what they don't realize is that if you use your Platinum Card for groceries, for restaurants, for gas, for all of these categories that people love using their credit cards for, you only get 1x back. And that's a terrible return. On the flip side, you have the enthusiasts who call it a coupon book and think they know everything that there is about the card, but the reality is that they don't. Really, there are way more than just the handful of credits people talk about with this card. And so in this video, we're going to go over 40 different benefits of the American Express Platinum Card. I'm sure you've heard of some of them, but I'm also sure you haven't heard of all of them. But before we get into that, if you want to know if the Platinum Card is right for you, for my day job, we built an app called Pointwise. It's a free app that tells you, based on your spending, which credit card to get. The way it works is simple. You sign up, you make an account, you connect your existing credit cards, and then we analyze your spending with our proprietary algorithm that looks at the benefits and credits of every card and all the information that you'll see in the different blogs and YouTube channels about which credit cards you should get and when, and it'll tell you specifically which credit card you should get next based on exactly how much money that card would have earned you. So now, back to the video, let's look at the 40 benefits of the American Express Platinum Card. Starting with the welcome offer, for the American Express Platinum Card, the welcome offer ranges from 80 to 175,000 points, and we're only talking about the personal card here. There is one thing to note, which is that if you want to get the Amex Gold Card, you should always make sure to get that first, because if you get the Platinum Card before getting the Gold Card, you're ineligible to get the American Express Gold Card sign-up bonus ever in your life. I made that mistake. You should not make that same mistake. I'm warning you now, if you ever want the Gold Card, get that and then the Amex Platinum. But if you're wondering, how do I get the 175,000 point bonus instead of the 80,000 point bonus or anywhere in between? I wish I could tell you more on that, but really all you have to do is try applying through incognito tabs and things like that. If you don't get targeted the 175, you still might not get it, but that seems to be a targeted offer for the 175K bonus that not everyone is getting. So don't get your hopes too down if you don't get targeted for it. Number 2, you get 5x back on flights. That's awesome until you realize that you only get 5x back on flights on flights booked directly through airlines or with AmexTravel.com. AmexTravel.com is usually marked up by around 10 to 15% on average, and so you should really never book there unless, again, you check the prices and the prices even out. But if you book through a travel booking site like Expedia, you will only get 1x here, not 5x. So if you want the 5x, again, you have to book directly with the airlines or with AmexTravel.com. And that leads us to benefit number 3, which is you get 5x back on hotels. However, you only get 5x back on hotels booked through Amex Travel. And like we said, Amex Travel is not really the best way to book hotels, so this benefit is not really that valuable. Benefit number 4 is Amex Offers, which is incredibly underrated. Amex has crazy offers that turn what most people think is usually a 1% back card on just about everything except for those flights. It turns that into a 2 to up to a 40% back card. And the way that it does this is with Amex Offers, which are special offers that Amex has negotiated with individual stores in order to give you extra cash back, or in great cases, extra points back that are worth more than cash. Offers right now are on stores like Macaj, the NBA store, MGM, Paramount Plus. You have all these different active offers, and you can just go into the Amex app, look up Amex Offers, and you can activate them one by one, but they do have to be activated or they will not count. Benefit number 5 is a $200 a year annual fee for incidental airline credit, which is basically anything except seat fares. There are 2 catches to this. Catch number 1 is you have to decide by the end of January of that year which airline you want your $200 credit to be valid for, and there's a selection of only a handful of airlines. And catch number 2 is you can't really switch that later on in the year, especially if you've already used part of the credit. There are 2 hacks that I can tell you to use this. If you select Spirit Airlines as your airline, you can actually upgrade to the big front seat, and even though upgrades aren't technically allowed, they will trigger the credit for this specific upgrade. And on top of that, if you select United, you can actually load your United Travel Bank with up to $200 in credits, which you can then use to book up to $200 worth of United flights. So even though this credit shouldn't count for seat fares, right, those are some ways that you can get it to count for seat fares. Benefit number 6 is the $200 a year Uber credit. This one is interesting because it's not $200 for the entire year. It's $15 a month, every single month, and then an extra $20 in December to round out to $200 in the year. Let's go to the next benefit, which is benefit number 7, which is a $200 a year hotel credit used on bookings when you stay at Fine Hotels and Resort and the Hotel Collection, which are these bespoke collections of hotels put together by American Express. Again, you should book those when they're a good deal. Sometimes they're good deals, but those are usually much higher end hotels. So the $200 is nice, but if you don't stay at really luxurious hotels, this isn't going to be so helpful for you specifically. That being said, if you're going somewhere like Vegas, there are some hotels in the Fine Hotels and Resorts and the Hotel Collection, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, in somewhere like Las Vegas that are more budget conscious, and then the $200 credit really starts to add up. But if you want to go to Vegas, there are other ways to go to Vegas for really cheap with points. So we'll get into that maybe in another video. Let's go on to benefit number 8. The American Express Platinum Card gives you $300 back each year at Equinox. It's great because this used to be a monthly credit, now it's an annual credit. So you can just put an entire Equinox membership for 1 month on here, and it basically covers the entire credit. The reason that's good is because if you don't go to Equinox, you can have a friend or a family member who does. You can have them pay for a month on your card, you can reimburse them for that month's Equinox fee, and then you'll end up getting the full $300 credit even if you don't go to Equinox. Other ways you can use this are for Equinox spas. You can also use it for the Equinox membership on their mobile app. Not quite sure why you do that, but that's required for a SoulCycle membership. And that takes us to benefit number 9, which is you also get a $300 SoulCycle credit. But you don't just get this once, you actually get this every time you order a SoulCycle bike. So that's, if you want to order like 15 SoulCycle bikes, I think that's the limit, go for it. You get $300 off each of them. And I think the Equinox Plus membership might even be required for that. I'll leave this part in the video if that's true. And if that is true, then again, that would be a prerequisite, and you can use a $300 Equinox credit for that, and then you can use the SoulCycle credit for these SoulCycle bikes. Let's go to benefit number 10. If we're going too fast for you, I'm sorry, we have 40 benefits to get through, and I just want to make sure we cover everything. Benefit number 10, a $240 a year streaming credit. This can be used at all sorts of places, all of the Disney affiliated channels. Keep in mind ESPN, Hulu, Disney Plus, all of those are part of the Disney bundle, and so the entire Disney bundle is included in this credit. You can also use it at the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, I think possibly also the Athletic, because that's owned by the New York Times for all you sports fans out there. So there are lots of ways that you can use this $240 a year credit, but that's $20 a month, not $240 all at once, but these are monthly subscriptions, so that shouldn't really be an issue. Benefit number 11, you get a clear credit, which they say is a $199 clear credit, but basically they pay you whatever the cost of an annual clear membership is if you pay for an annual clear membership with your American Express Platinum card. Clear membership is fantastic if you're in an airport that has one. I highly recommend it, especially if you mix it with TSA PreCheck. You'll get through airport security lines faster than I ever have before. I don't think I've waited in a security line for more than 5 or 10 minutes in at least a few years now, and that is definitely a game changer. That leads us to benefit number 12, which is free TSA PreCheck. So they'll cover your TSA PreCheck application, but you can choose between PreCheck and Global Entry. Because Global Entry also gets you into the country faster and it comes with PreCheck, I would just opt for Global Entry if you're able to get that done. So if you're a frequent traveler, pair your PreCheck and Global Entry with your clear membership. Amex covers it all, and you'll be going through security in no time, both in and out of airports. Benefit number 13 is an annual Saks Fifth Avenue credit of $100. But unfortunately, like a lot of these credits, this is not $100 that you can use all at once, because that might be about a pair of socks at Saks in terms of the pricing that they have over there. Instead, they force you to divide it into two $50 credits. That's not terrible if you're someone who usually shops at Saks anyway, at least once every 6 months, because you're going to use the credit eventually. It's fine for it to be applied in two separate transactions. But for those of us who don't normally shop at Saks, it's a little difficult because we want to squeeze every ounce of value we can out of this card, but we don't want to spend money out of pocket that we wouldn't have otherwise spent. And so spending this $50 Saks credit is actually kind of tough. So the way we handle it is we go in person and maybe buy a $50 gift card, and then go in person after the midway point of the year and buy another $50 gift card. If you buy those online, they will not count. And then you can combine those for a $100 purchase, or online, there are some things, especially in the home and kitchen section, that you can actually get for under $50. We got our bathrooms garbage can for like $35 from Saks. Nice garbage can, lasted us a couple years. So there are some things you can get for less than $50, but that's the credit. On to the next benefit. Number 14 is free Walmart Plus. And before you think, oh my goodness, I have Amazon Prime, this is irrelevant, it doesn't matter. Sometimes Walmart actually has better pricing, and when they don't have better pricing, it doesn't matter, because if you're big into streaming, Walmart Plus actually gives you free Paramount Plus. And so you can use some of your streaming, if you want to use this for streaming instead of just the streaming credit for streaming, you can basically get an extra streaming credit by getting Walmart Plus in order to get free Paramount Plus. So now you have free Walmart Plus just in case you ever need it, but at least you have Paramount Plus covered by Amex. That's not usually advertised. Let's go to the next benefit. Benefit number 15 is a benefit that so many people rave about, which is access to the famous Centurion lounges from Amex that you see in some of the biggest airports all over the world. And these are really nice lounges. They're not the best of the best. They're not as nice as some of the business class lounges you'd see from the international airlines or even the Delta One lounges. They're about on par with the Delta Sky Club lounges, if you're familiar with those. Basically, they're like a solid 7 out of 10. They're pretty good. People complain though, and the reason I'm only giving it a 7 out of 10 is that they're pretty crowded. But that doesn't matter too much because Amex also gives you access to other lounges. And that takes us to benefit number 16 and 17 and 18, which are all together. Benefit number 16 is access to Delta lounges, and Delta Sky Clubs are really, really nice. Number 17 is access to Priority Pass lounges with a free Priority Pass membership, and that's access to thousands of lounges worldwide. They're usually not as nice, but there are way more of them, especially internationally. You're almost always likely to find a good lounge that you can get into. And then 18 is access to Plaza Premium lounges, which is another collection of airport lounges that you can get into. So for all these people who complain and say that the Amex Centurion lounges are just too crowded, they're not taking full advantage of the lounges you can actually get into with your Amex Platinum card. And it's pretty easy to figure out which ones you do have access to. You open Amex's app and you can search by the airport and figure out which lounges does it actually give you access to. And you don't have to go to the Centurion lounge. You can go to any of the numerous lounges that the Amex Platinum card gets you access to. And so that's a really valuable set of benefits. On to the next benefit, which is benefit number 19 of the Amex Platinum card. And that is the one lounge that I haven't mentioned yet, which is you get access to Airspace and Escape lounges. The reason I left that out is because I've never been in one of them. I don't even know if I've seen one of those lounges. And so I don't know how much of a bragging point that really is. It seems like a smaller collection, but for those of you who know, correct me in the comments below. But I would not get so excited over that one. I mentioned the other three, right? The Centurion lounges, the Plaza Premium lounges, and the Priority Pass lounges, because I have seen boatloads of those throughout my travels. Now, pivoting to a different side of the travel game, away from flights and into hotels, we get benefit number 20, and that is that you get free Marriott Bonvoy Gold Elite status with the American Express Platinum card. What does that get you exactly? Not too much. You get late checkout, you get space available room upgrades, but because you're so far down in the totem pole, you're probably not gonna get that unless it's a really off-peak day and a really not popular place. And then you also get free Wi-Fi, which I think should just be standard in hotels anyway, but technically you do get free Marriott status. Number 21 is you also get Hilton status, specifically Hilton Honors Gold status. This one I think is a little bit more valuable. This one gets you free breakfast, room available upgrades, free Wi-Fi, and this one, which is actually nice, is they waive resort fees for you. And so if you're on a vacation and you might not see, because it's not in the room rate, but there's a $35 a night resort fee per room per night, you book 2 rooms if you're going with your family, you stay there for 4 nights, you're saving hundreds of dollars per trip just by getting this American Express Platinum card. And one little bonus for the Hilton Honors Gold status, they also give you free bottled water if you're someone who cares about that and is upset that they always charge you in hotels $5 or $10 for a freaking bottle of water. Number 22, staying in hotels, is you get a $100 credit on any 2+ night stay at the hotel collection. You can use it as many times as you spend 2 or more nights at a hotel in the hotel collection, which is that group of hotels that Amex put together. You do have to book it through the hotel collection, and what you end up getting is a $100 credit. This can be used on all sorts of things like food, the bar, the spa, anything like that. If you end up booking through here, valuable to know about, but you probably won't end up taking advantage of this. Benefit number 23 is that whenever you book through, we just spoke about the hotel collection, but whenever you book through the other group of hotels Amex put together called Fine Hotels and Resorts, you actually get benefits as if you basically booked with status anytime. So you're getting things like space available room upgrades, late checkout, hopefully free Wi-Fi. It's a little different at each hotel, but it ends up being really, really nice. My wife and I actually did book through this for the night of our wedding, and we got a space available room upgrade, but they might have just been nice to us because it was our wedding. So take my results with a grain of salt. Your mileage may vary. On to the next benefit of the American Express Platinum card. Number 24, you get a $300 credit on cruises booked through Amex Travel. We spoke about Amex Travel's pricing discrepancies. I don't know if the cruises are marked up as much. So again, people who know cruise pricing, let us know down in the comments below. But if you are booking cruises, $300 off, this is definitely something to look at. Numbers 25, 26, and 27, we're gonna do all at once really quick here because that just gives you status at Avis Preferred Rental Cars, Hertz Rental Cars, and National Rental Cars. And the way I look at this is if you rent rental cars enough to care about this, you already know what those status programs are like, and you probably know about this. And if you don't rent cars enough, I'm not gonna bore you with the details of their loyalty programs, so we'll just go on to the next benefit. Quick note, I am losing my voice a little bit by trying to knock off as much as I can about these 40 benefits in as little time as possible for you. So if you're enjoying this video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe so that I know you enjoy it and I can make more videos like this. On to the next benefit. Like we said, that is going to be benefit number 28, and that is earning rewards on up to $2,000 of car purchases. What exactly does that mean? Well, usually if you buy a car, they don't let you pay in credit card because of the fees that are associated with it. So American Express has this program or this feature for this card that says, listen, you can pay up to $2,000 of your car and you'll earn 1x back on it. So that's 2,000 Amex points, and you won't have to pay the transaction fee for that part of the transaction. So whenever you're buying a car, you can basically get a free 2,000 Amex points if you just remember to jump through this little hoop. Next, we have a really unique one, which is that you can earn a $100 gift card once you have 10,000 Neiman Marcus points. I don't really know how this is calculated or how to take advantage of this. I'm not that big of a Neiman Marcus fan, so we're gonna go on to the next one. But if you are, this is something that you can look into. So the next benefit, finally, we are up to number 30, is the Amex Concierge, the famous Amex Concierge, which has done so much of absolutely nothing for me. I've called them several times, asked to get bookings at places that were booked, which is what they're known to be able to do, hopefully. I've asked them to help me look for flights when I thought all the flights were booked. I've never had them help me with anything where I had any degree of success, really. I imagine if you wanted to call them and have them send someone flowers, they'd be able to do that and then send you the invoice. But beyond that, and you could just call 1-800-FLOWERS yourself, I don't really see the value in the Amex Concierge program, except it makes you feel very official, that you look on the back of your card and you see the little number that says Amex Concierge. But if you don't care about that, like I don't, on to the next. Benefit number 31 of the American Express Platinum card. There are 0 foreign transaction fees, and that is really helpful for places that accept American Express internationally, which, believe it or not, as I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, is actually a lot of places. I've traveled internationally a few times. I don't think I've ever had someone say they don't accept American Express, and that doesn't mean that they don't exist, but I definitely have never personally experienced that. But I do know that there are some people who don't like traveling with Amex cards because they don't think they're accepted everywhere. And it's true that Visa is accepted at far more places than American Express, but in most places, you're gonna be fine, and Amex doesn't charge, or at least the Platinum card doesn't charge any foreign transaction fees. Number 32, and this one is great for those of you who wanna get that 850 or 800 plus credit score, there's no preset spending limit. Why does that matter? Because a preset spending limit means that you have a certain amount that you can spend. So if you've spent $100 of your $1,000 credit limit, they're gonna report 10% utilization to the credit bureau, and that'll count for or against your credit score. But when you have no preset spending limit, there's no bottom number, there's no denominator for that credit usage, and so they just don't report your credit usage, which means that you can essentially spend however much Amex will let you spend on this card, and they're not going to dock your credit score for it. So again, if you're trying to get that elusive 850 credit score, maybe just spend on this card for a few months instead of another card, and let all your other cards get fully paid off. Your utilization will go down, your score should go up. See if that helps. On to the next, the American Express Platinum card. Sometimes, and you have to ask for this, but they'll give you bonus offers like new sign-up bonuses just to keep the card that you already have for another year. And the reason they do this, and it's called retention offers, and there are tons of videos on YouTube about how to get an Amex retention offer that you can look up after this video if you have the Amex Platinum card. And basically what it is that they don't want you to cancel the card if you already have it, because they've already acquired you as a customer. They think it better just to give you 200, 300, 400 bucks worth of points, and then they'll get to keep you as a customer for several or many more years after that. So what you do is you basically go in the chatbot, you tell them, hey, look, can I have a retention offer? You tell them, listen, I got this much value from the card. I was really hoping to get this much value. There are people who have templates for it online, and about half the time you're able to get a retention offer of basically a mini sign-up bonus for the card yet again, even though you already have it. On to the next benefit. This one, benefit number 34, is also targeted, but American Express will target you, and they target most people for paying in order to get an authorized user on the card. So the Amex authorized user card for the Platinum card, it does cost you some money, but they basically pay you a welcome offer worth more than the first year's points in order to add a new person to your Amex Platinum card. I don't think that's really worth it unless you were gonna add an authorized user anyways. Basically, you're paying for them to get lounge access and those other travel benefits because they're not getting their own Uber credit. They're not getting their own Equinox credit. So a lot of these credits that you're counting when you do the calculus for this card, the authorized user isn't getting, but you still have to pay for them every year. So your mileage may vary, but oftentimes, they give you basically mini sign-up bonuses in order to add that authorized user. Benefit number 35, we are finally getting close to the end here, is that if your phone bill is paid with your Amex Platinum card, you get up to $800 in cell phone repair insurance for your phone covered by American Express. Again, if your Platinum card pays for the phone plan, that's pretty cool. Let's go to benefit number 36. Number 36 gives you up to $50K in purchase protection, up to $10K in each claim. That's a pretty complicated thing, but basically it protects you if you're scammed. So feel free to check out their website for more details on that. But up to $50K in coverage for something you're barely paying for, that's pretty cool. Number 37 is that you get $1,000 in return protection. That means if you try to return something and it's not actually available to be returned, you can actually get up to $1,000 of that return covered by American Express if you just call them up and tell them what happened and it qualifies. And while that is $1,000 total, it's only up to $300 each claim. Let's go on to benefit number 38. And that is for every warranty that you have for anything that you buy with your Amex Platinum card, just add a year to the warranty and Amex will cover that extra year. So if you have a 3-year warranty, in your head that's 4, the last year is covered by Amex, and you can add that to any warranty that you end up getting. Let's go to benefit number 39. Our second to last benefit is primary rental car insurance. This means at the rental car place, you can actually say, no, I don't want your insurance. I know the liability I'm accepting. If you pay for the rental car with the American Express Platinum card, you are totally covered, and that is awesome to know peace of mind wise. If you rent a car once or twice, that can save you a few $100s. Last but not least, number 40, the last benefit we're going to talk about for the Amex Platinum card is you have trip delay insurance on delays of 6 hours or longer, which means that if your flight is delayed, which is a relatively common occurrence, especially nowadays with all the hurricanes coming through, if your flight is delayed at least 6 hours, you can buy things like toothbrushes, snacks, possibly a hotel room even in order to stay overnight. Call up Amex. they'll deal with it and they will reimburse some, if not all, of your expenses. So that is it for this video. Again, if you want to know if the Amex Platinum card is best for you, check out Pointwise. I'll leave a link down in the description below and we'll tell you literally which credit card you should get based on your specific situation. And if you want to see an extensive list of all the benefits for a different credit card, let me know that down in the comments below. Give it a like so I know that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.